So I'm currently attending National Staff College, and one of the topics we had was philanthropy. And what a fantastic, right? It just is such a fascinating topic when you really get down to it. Um, and I liken it to the mysteriousness of volunteerism, right? Our organization relies on good human nature, and we need our volunteers to create our legacy stories, but then we also need philanthropists to make our funding our missions effective. And Christina Jones, who is the chief of philanthropy up at National, has a great team, including our very own Lisa Myrick, who serves on that national team. And they have really, in less than 2 years, they've expanded giving opportunities to alumni, friends of CAP, memorial tribute gifts, the CAP Foundation, scholarship funds, planned giving, monthly giving. It's timed. You can do once a year, or even just a one-time gift. It's just fantastic. And her team diversified the resources available to wings and squadrons in order to communicate the potential opportunities that donors have. And most importantly, and I'm going to let Lisa talk about how you can find all these great resources and what this means. But to me, one of the most significant things that they've established is a clear path to ensuring donations go where they are designated. And so I spent a little bit of time on that giving website and played around with the different types of potential selections that you could make. And they all have an area where you can designate the wing, the unit, or you could say Hawaii Wing Cadet Programs if you want to, or Hawaii Wing Color Guard team, or whatever you want to put. There's an area where you write your own intention for the donation that you're giving. And I think that's really significant. And so I'm hoping that you all are going to enjoy Lisa Myrick and her presentation on, the developing philanthropic relationships and opportunities for Civil Air Patrol. Thanks for being here, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Colonel Lonergan, for inviting me to come and share tonight on this. I am so excited about our new fundraising program. I feel like it's giving our units especially a greater opportunity to really find some new ways to fundraise besides the typical bake sales and car washes. And we've put together some terrific resources for everybody. There's a lot of how-to guides available. So we'll just get started. First off, the basis of our field fundraising program with National is really foundationally about relationships. Especially here in Hawaii, I feel like we have that down pretty pat. It's easy for us to talk story with people and break bread with people and really begin to develop a relationship and a bond that shares our vision for what we do within Civil Air Patrol. And that is really the basis of the fundraising program. It's one thing to walk up to somebody and say, hey, I know you've got lots of money. Do you want to share? It's another thing completely to say, hey, you know what? We have this amazing program. This is all the incredible things we're doing with our cadets. And oh, by the way, we do emergency services. And look at what we've got going on. And then you draw them in. They become excited about what you're doing. And they're like, wait, I want to be a part of this vision, but I don't have time to do it. What can I do to help support you? And that's really relational fundraising, sharing the vision and letting people find where they fit in a way that they can support you, whether it's through donations of supplies, donations of money, donations of equipment. Those are the kinds of ways that we really are looking at establishing fundraising in a different avenue now. So this beautiful page has all kinds of amazing resources available for you. I would encourage you, if you have not already signed up for the Field Fundraising newsletter, that you do so. And you can do that right here in the middle of the page where it says sign up for email updates. We send those out about once every 1 to 2 months, depending on what kinds of things are going on and new programs that are being released. If you look over to the side, we have a page that's dedicated to fundraising best practices. I'll just click on that real quick and let it open. And it is our best practices guide. It's about, I believe, about 60 something pages, 80 pages. And it's chock full of really great ideas, procedures for how to walk through your Facebook fundraising, how to do matching gifts program, everything. So let me go back to the other one. The CAP Response Fund is all about members in need. That happens to be, maybe we have a member, for instance, in Hawaii Wing who's contracted COVID-19, and this enables us to set up a fund that would help cover potentially medical costs or other issues that their family might be facing in response to it. It also has been set up to assist members in other wings, for instance, hurricane damage, tornadoes, fires, things like that. It's really a pretty fantastic fund. So you can go through that. There's a way for you to donate. It lists specifically the criteria down here at the bottom for what is necessary to be able to receive assistance. Most of you know already about the Reads Across America program. Many of you have already been participating. It's a great opportunity to raise money while honoring our veterans by placing wreaths on their grave sites. And then we have the CFC program. This one is really a little bit trickier only because it requires the fundraising approval as well as IRS 990 from the previous fiscal year. That has to come from the Wing Finance Administrator. It opens in December and only goes through April. It's a little bit more in-depth. It's a combined federal campaign, and there is a webinar recording that you guys can look at as well. It'll give you a little bit more information. There's no way I have enough time to go into all of it, so definitely take a look at it for your guys' own benefit. The matching gifts program is really what I wanted to focus a lot on with you tonight, because we all have members in our units that are working for large corporations, United Airlines, banking industry, UPS, FedEx, and many of these organizations actually provide matching gifts. Some of it is monetarily, some of it is they will match a certain amount of money for however many volunteer hours you donate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up United, because I've already done this and I know it works. So we're just going to type it in. And as you type your first word, you start to see that it brings up a whole bunch of other organizations, USAA, United Technologies. So I'm looking for United Continental Holdings. I know that that is United Airlines ownership. So I'm going to click on that. It shows me that they do not have a matching gifts program. However, they do offer volunteer grants for 40 hours of volunteer time. So that tells me that there's a way to apply for that grant. And if you scroll down a little bit, it shows you the 3 steps. And then there is a link that also shows you, explains the process and how to register. So if you click on that link, it will take you to another page, and it's going to have you log in with your information and whatnot. And that's going to be the same for any corporation or company that you happen to be working with for matching gifts. Some of these will have a link that you need to go to that will show you the paperwork to fill out and whatnot. There is an online application available for the Flying Together. I am also going to show you, you may work for a certain hotel. The Four Seasons Hotel is owned by Host Hotels and Resorts. So you click on that. Yes, the company has a matching gift program. You can see that they have a gift form that you could fill out, and you can see that they also have guidelines. So you can click on either one of those things and it will provide both sets of information for you. The minimum amount of matching is for every $50 that you donate, they will match up to $500 on a dollar for dollar basis. If you look over on the side, you see the match ratio 1-to-1. Some companies will match 4-to-1 even. So it's definitely good to know whether or not your company is a matcher. It gives you information as far as what employees are eligible, part-time, full-time. This one shows that retired employees are not eligible for it. And it shows you what kind of information or what kind of donations for nonprofits are interested in supporting. Under this, you have civic and community organizations, environmental, arts and cultural, health and human services, educational. And this is many other organizations. So I feel like that includes Civil Air Patrol. And you can go to the doublethedonation.com/forms/host hotels PDF, and that will give you even more information on how to do the process. You can go through and there is a way to see, for instance, my company does not have matching gifts. However, you can, at the end of it, if you find it, so just show HFS does not have it on there, but we want to know if they're going to be. So let me see, let's check. So you see this link right here, it says add your employer. So if you know that your company does do matching gifts, you can click that add your employer, complete the information on it, and they will contact your employer and add Civil Air Patrol to the matching gifts program that they have. It's important, first off, that you know that your company does do matching gifts before you try to add them, because it won't let you otherwise. It asks for all kinds of information for them. And I can show you what that page looks like. We'll click on that real quick. So it takes you to the double the donation page, and you have to enter the company information, the minimum matching amounts that they will match, the maximum amount, what kind of organization they are, what employees are eligible, whether there's a volunteer grant program that's available for volunteer hours, and then contact information for who you would need to, or who the donations would be submitted to, as well as your email and your name. It's pretty straightforward. When we first started this fundraising process, it was not nearly as straightforward. So it's kind of nice to see how things have moved and been built. The thing with the matching gifts that's really important is that it does take a process in order to get everything done. It takes a little bit of time. So once it gets submitted, you go to the site, you enter your information in, it gets designated. You can either designate it, like Colonel Lonergan said, to your squadron, to your wing, to region, to a specific unit or activity. Maybe if you wanted to go to a donation for a yearly encampment fund, then you can specify that. You have to make sure that there is a point of contact, included in your information when you put that in there. So once it gets submitted to the employer processes the payroll and or the gift hours. Then the employer transmits that to their third-party vendor that handles the matching gifts program. It goes from there to national headquarters, and depending on whether or not that vendor submits on a quarterly or a monthly basis, it will depend on how quickly it gets to national. So you have to keep that in mind when you make your donations and you submit your paperwork. Once it gets to national, development is the one that processes those donations and the hours. They transmit their forms to financial management. Then financial management turns around and transmits to the wing administrator within 2 weeks of processing the paperwork. So it's a pretty fast turnaround once it gets submitted to national. Once the wing administrator processes it, then it's literally within a couple of weeks that you would see it within your unit or the wing funding that you put in for. So it can take anywhere from 2 to 3 months depending on the reporting process that your employer uses with the vendor. The program is managed by national, so it's really important that if you make a donation, you haven't seen it put into things yet, that you do not contact national, but you contact your wing administrator, and they will contact national to follow up and see where the donations are at. Otherwise, we'll have 60,000 people contacting national going, hey, where's my matching gift? So Renee would be the one to follow up with if you've made a matching gift and you want to see if it's come through yet. The other thing that we just started is called Wings or Wheels, and I'm super excited about this because it's going to give us an opportunity to take advantage of the donations of vehicles and aircraft. We always have people coming to us in Kona, I know, for, hey, we want to donate this and this. Can you guys take it? And before we didn't really have an avenue to be able to do it, whereas now we do. And we have an actual vendor that is going to handle the processing of those vehicles and aircraft being donated. So 80% of the funds are going to go to the unit. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I've got this caddy that's, you know, it's worth about 10 grand. $8,000 of that is going to go straight to your unit right off the bat. There are processing fees and things that, you know, it costs national to be able to process the donation itself, paperwork, you know, all of the registration and whatnot. And so that there is a small fee on our end to be able to do it. But there is also a breakdown of those fees. So the wing would see some funding as well from it. The whole idea is to make sure that as much of the money as possible actually makes it to the field, which is where you guys are at. That's been a work in process definitely for a little bit. So we're really excited to see that finally coming about.
Yeah, Lisa, if I could just chime in. So again, this is Stacy Haraguchi, Wing Director of Logistics. So it's awesome that we can receive vehicles, planes, whatever. I still need to enter that into ORMS.
No,
you know,
so the donations would be, it's a matter that the items would be basically received by National, sold, and the funding would go to you. If it's a matter that they're wanting to donate an actual aircraft for use by you, then that's a whole different ball of wax. This is that would be donated for sale.
Hey, Lisa, this is Jen.
Yes.
We have a few cadets online. I was wondering if you could address them and how they can be catalysts for fundraising.
Do you guys enjoy the program?
Yes, ma'am.
The best way you can engage in fundraising is to talk to as many of your friends, their parents, talk to your school teachers, your coaches. Just share about what's going on in your life with Civil Air Patrol, what a difference it's made. The other thing that is really, really helpful that I have found, especially in writing grants, is that our cadets have this incredible voice and ability to share how Civil Air Patrol has impacted them, how it's impacted their confidence levels, their ability to multitask and to teach and to do all these amazing things that we let you guys do on a regular basis. And so I would encourage you, if Civil Air Patrol has made a difference in your life, if it's made you more confident, if it's given you the ability to stand in front of a group of people and talk and share and teach, take some time to just write down how it's impacted you. Write down what it's done for you, the benefits that you've seen in your life. And turn that into your unit commander or your deputy commander for cadets and allow them to use those statements for whatever advertising or grant opportunities come about. Those kinds of testimonials are really, really powerful. I have found, especially when it comes to soliciting for fundraising, the more often we include our cadets' testimonials and statements about how Civil Air Patrol has impacted them, it has a huge, huge impact on our donors. They like to see how it's affecting our kids, especially. How is it affecting our youth? So you guys take some time to put your thoughts together, make it professional, make sure your spelling is good and your punctuation and your grammar is well done. We want to look professional. If you have some great photos of you in uniform and activities that you've done and some things that you've really, really enjoyed, include that in your statement as well. And then get that to your unit leadership. That really is the best way. And as much as you can share what you're doing and everything that's going on at your unit level, definitely do that. Because fundraising is not just about the money, it's about the relationship.
Yeah, telling your story, helping your public affairs officer, whoever's in your squadron, or if you're great with videos, if you like to make videos on your cell phone, or if you like to take pictures, then engage with the public affairs team, Captain Harrington or any of the power team cadets.
Yeah, it's a great way to go for sure.
One of the really important things to know about donors is they want to feel a part of something bigger, right? They want to know how their contribution contributed to the success of our missions, right? We accomplish that by educating not only our members in the growth, but also creating an atmosphere of gratitude for our recurring donations and encouraging local squadrons to using those tools available. There's this methodology of thanking our donors. So if cadets want to get involved and want to start helping build thank you cards or thank you videos, that's another really great way that cadets can get involved, where you're not actually asking anybody for anything. You're just showing your gratitude. You're being natural. You're being yourself. You're explaining why you love Civil Air Patrol and how they've made an impact in your life through that thank you, through that showing of gratitude. So
Colonel Lonergan makes a really good point in that more often than not, we really don't need to go up and ask people for money. If we just share our story with them, people want to be a part of something bigger. They want to be a part of making a difference in people's lives and in their communities. They just don't always have the time to do it themselves. Our story is our most powerful weapon, so to speak, when it comes to being able to accomplish what we want to be able to do. So definitely get out there and share your story as much as possible. And I love the idea of the thank you videos and thank you cards. It's very important when we do receive donations, and all of this is covered in the resources on the field fundraising page as well. But it's very important that we are accountable to our donors. We let them know how the money was spent, especially if our requests were specific for specific items in the process of the money. So we want to make sure that we definitely are being accountable and we're being transparent with them about how it's being spent, what we're doing with it, the impact that it's had, et cetera, et cetera. One thing that I did want to mention is that Colonel Lonergan is the one who ultimately is financially responsible for our wing. She's the one that has to make sure that whatever we do, fundraising wise especially, is one, that it's legal, that it meets our compliance elements of our regulations, and that we're not doing something that we really would not want to be made known public. So it's really, really important that we do submit any requests for fundraising through Colonel Lonergan first. She needs to be aware. There's nothing worse than a wing commander finding out about something after the fact. It's not a situation where you want to have to apologize and beg forgiveness afterwards. We don't want to put that on her. So a number of wings actually have fundraising forms that they fill out for, specific requests and whatnot. And I know we have one that's located on the wing webpage. So be sure to utilize that. The only program that does not require pre-approval is the Matching Gifts program, because again, that's run by National. However, if you have members in your unit that are utilizing it, it would be really good to let her know, hey, just a heads up, our members doing donations through such and such company. That way she's just aware and can keep on the lookout for it along with our wing administrator.
Right. Before we go and pursue any fundraising activity, any activity outside of a regularly scheduled squadron meeting requires wing approval. So we want to make sure that we're following those. It just keeps everybody covered.
Lisa and or Colonel Lonergan, do we have like a master wish list so that if we do find donors, we can tell them, oh, here's what your money would go toward, cadet activities, radios, whatever it happens to be. Do we have anything along those lines?
We don't have anything posted on the wing website yet. However, that's a great point.
Units should definitely have that wish list as well. It's a perfect way to kind of keep you focused on what you're looking for and wanting to be able to do. I know several of the units do, but it's a good idea for everybody for sure.
When I was doing some grant research on the mainland, one of the things that the big donors wanted to know is, do you have a short plan and a long range plan? In other words, they were looking for a way to donate funds over a 5-year period. And so they wanted to see what your spend plan was. that kind of stuff is extremely difficult because they're talking about, you know, 6-figure donations each year. But unless you can kind of show how it's going to be spent, they wouldn't approve the grant or the donation.
So we actually have a number of wings that have had situations like that occur where we had a 6-figure donation. I believe it was for one of our Pacific regions wings, and National will help you facilitate that. We'll help you with the accountability process. And we just recently hired a grants manager for National. So I'm really excited about that. We're just getting that portion of the program going. It's Major Todd Mandel. His contact information is also on the web page there. So if there's a specific grant that you're looking at, Stacy, definitely shoot him a note and he can look into that for you and see what he can do to help you out. But yeah, that's a very, very important point is these 6-figure grants, they're looking at long-term, and the national team can help you work that out with them.